Hello, and welcome to the Silver Lining, the weekly geekly talk show where we discuss. I took a sip of my soda right before I turned the camera on, and that was a mistake. Where we also discuss any number of geeky topics that may have come up during the week. I am your host, Uncle Silver, aka Silver Greg, aka Greg. Whatever you feel like calling me, whatever you're comfortable calling me. And welcome to you, my co-host, the chat. I absolutely love having you guys here. Loved having you here this entire time of 50 episodes. This is the 50th episode of the show. And I'm super duper excited that we have it. And we have something. Do we have something very special planned for the 50th? You bet we don't. It kind of snuck up on me that it was the 50th episode. So yeah, I didn't actually plan anything for the 50th episode because I just didn't remember that it was going to be the 50th episode. But you know, we got some stuff to talk about. I do want to talk about the fact that it's 50 episodes in a little bit later. Miss Mix, what is happening? Rocky Bear, Agent Fox, what's going on? I found an exact copy of the dog I used to have on Google Images. Oh wow. I haven't been to one of these in a while. Well, it's nice to see you again. Yeah, I mean, 50 episodes. I mean, that's not going to be the first thing that we talk about, but it's nice that we were able to switch the new system over. Oh, how am I sounding? I feel like I'm a little loud, even though I'm not able to hear it on my headphones. For some reason, my monitoring of my own sound is not working properly. So I'm not entirely sure why that is. Oh wait, there we go. All right, I fixed it. Somehow I must have turned my volume down on my my headphones. Have the little these are gamey headphones because they have the headset, so I can turn my volume up and down for some reason. I think that's going to be my next thing, is to just get a new pair of headphones. These work great, but they are the microphone. Hello. So I think it's time to get actual actual headphones that operate just as headphones. I'm a little loud. Yeah, I can see my volume peaking on the thing. My mic sounds different, a little reverby. Yeah, I don't know. Here, let me know how this sounds. Oh wow, why isn't it popping up? Oh, hold on.
What?
All right. Okay, I'm glad I sound okay. Hold on, because Sage is about to jump up here. Come on. And hi, Sage. How are you, everybody? Hello, everybody. And goodbye. You're coming in well. That's what I'm really concerned about. Got free Nintendo Online. CT, congratulations. I there really isn't a lot to discuss with that, because I thought about talking about that, and I'm like, there really is not a lot really to discuss with that, but I did find it interesting. I'm curious because I've had Nintendo Online since it started, so I'm curious if I connect my Amazon Prime account to Nintendo, will I get a new 12 months at the end of the 12 months I paid? Will I only get a free? Will I only get 6 more months free? Like, I'm wondering how it works. Quick question: $129. There is a PS2 Slim for $50. AVGN Blu-ray. The PS2 Slim is the better value. Zansaurus, what's going on? Gabby J, Ziego. And hello, Flipnote. I didn't actually say hello. John Poncho, I don't think I actually said hello. Sorry, I was typing with one hand for a second. That is personal information. Free ho. Um. Yeah. Okay. So it's been a relatively mild week. People are very cranky lately. I'm noticing that people have been very cranky lately, and I think it's just because of the weather. The weather is starting to get a little bit warmer. I swear that winter and spring went through this like weather exchange program where the winter got a bunch of warm days and now the spring is getting a bunch of cold days. Sage knocks over vase, knocks over PC. um as of now, as of now it's 3 months. So, okay. Drinking tea with the other hand. Were there tea bags in that tea? Um, but yeah, it's been a weird week. I've been trying to get the computer working. The computer works properly, by the way. I was super nervous about doing anything with it, as far as like tinkering with the settings and all. So I've been more comfortable. Everything's working now. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna overclock it. I'm gonna overclock the CPU and see what happens. So I watched like 5 videos on how to overclock it, whether or not it was safe to overclock it with the cooler that is with it, which is an amazing cooler, by the way. It looks super awesome. It looks kinda cool. Um so yeah, so it's working actually like super well now. So I'm very very excited that it's working so well. I apologize if now we're able to stream at a higher bit rate. With 60 frames, we're actually streaming for gameplay anyway. We're streaming at 60 frames per second because my camera only picks up 30. So yeah, for games we're streaming at 60. I apologize if that is messing with anybody's settings. I know DB Stewart, I think, was in here yesterday and was saying that Twitch wasn't letting him change his settings, which I found very odd and a little bit unfortunate. CT had an interview with HPTC Mobile today. Hopefully that went very well. How did it go? Did it go okay? Do you think you got? Oh, was it De Niro? I thought it was, for some reason I thought it was DB Stewart. Okay, yeah. So it was De Niro that wasn't able to change the settings. So I apologize because I know that a lot of people watch on monitors, or not monitors, mobile, like cell phone and tablets and stuff, and sometimes those aren't the best when it comes to picking up streams. One of the things that I want to do, the reason I built the PC, the reason I want to start getting new equipment, new stuff that is of better quality, is because I want all of this to improve. I want it to improve for all of you. I want it to improve for myself. I just want it to be a better experience for everybody all around. Unfortunately, that may mean that if your equipment can't keep up or something, I don't really know. I don't know how well or not well that works, like what changes what. But I just want to apologize if for whatever reason, I don't know, you guys aren't able to watch this stuff, because I don't want you to not be able to watch any of this. Excuse me. Enjoying the weather. I am enjoying having the windows open a little bit. Today is okay. Today, what happened was today started very relatively chilly. It was like 40, 45 degrees in the morning, which is, I'm fine with that, but it is still a little chilly. But over the course of the day, it spikes up to like 65, and then tomorrow is supposed to be 70 something. So tomorrow morning, I'm going to very much enjoy having the windows open and airing out the house, because I love the feeling of fresh air blowing through the house. One of my, if I had to have a dream house, it would be a modernized, old, traditional style Japanese house with the Engawa that opens up out into the like yard area, large doors that I can open, and then just, I would love the inside of my house to feel like an extension of the outside of the house and vice versa, as opposed to the house is the place I go in to get away from the outside, and outside is where I go to get away from the house. Like, I would love for it all to feel like one giant shared space. So that's probably like my dream house. It went quick. It was quick. Went well. Ate at a local burger joint after. Always good to treat yourself. Treat yourself. R-Wing, Lilac, what's going on? Yeah, so that's my dream. My dream house is an old style Japanese house. Not just an old house that's modern updated, because in the US, old houses that are updated are just updated old houses. Japanese style house, like I said, it's normally the one floor. Everything feels very open. I love that feeling. My dream house is one I can afford. You know what, Suave? That was always I always lived in a house. I've never lived in an apartment, which is a whole story in itself. But the idea of the house being yours is always amazing. But I can tell you that the grass is always greener. There's always this more that you want. You know, when you finally get a house, you're gonna want a house with a driveway. When you finally get a house with a driveway, you're going to want a house with a big yard. You're going to want a 2-car driveway. You're going to want a garage. Like, there's always a little bit. You can be happy with what you have, but there's always a little bit more that you want. I feel like we're Agent Fox, you guys ask me that all the time. I always get that. And if you don't ask, I tell you anyway. Are you talking about a house or video game collecting? Yes. Suave, I'm talking about a house. I'm talking about video game collecting. I am talking about all of it. There's always that mentality. Yeah. It's you guys always ask. I'm okay with that. And like I said, I'm gonna tell you anyway. I'm gonna tell you anyway because you're my prisoner. Oh, that's loud now. Oh, I finally figured out why the hell everything was so low. My computer, for some reason, defaults to like 60% volume. So no matter what I did with the mixer, everything was super low. So I changed it all now. So we should be running at a relatively decent volume. Yeah, right. I also got some stuff working. I got a couple other things working for the show. So I'm this is what I like, man. I know that I talk about it all the time. Going back to the idea that you always want a little bit more. I wanted to do the computer because I wanted the show to be better. Now that the show is better, I want to do a little bit more. I want to keep adding little things here and there. So now I was finally able to fix like a couple of buttons. It's simple stuff, but like a couple of buttons on my Stream Deck. We normally used to have pictures right here for the show topics. I finally got that working. I spent the last like 2 hours trying to figure out how to get all that working. Over under Nintendo should remaster all their old generic sports games. Oh, you mean like the Black Label sports games? That would be kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind. How about a Black Label remaster? Call it that too. Nintendo Black Label remaster, and their remastered versions of all of the Black Label sports games, like pro wrestling, volleyball, soccer, golf. Like it's all just remastered versions of those games. Oh, dude, I like that idea now. That's awesome. I kind of like that idea now. I kind of want it. Okay, so let's. Oh, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Right. Oh yeah, I got it. Look, we got pictures. I want to get into the first topic, because this is, I don't know, because I want to get into it. Rye, what's going on? DB Stewart, I don't know if I said hello, but hello. And hello to anybody who I might have missed. First topic for I can understand wanting to add more to improve as you go. Just don't let it get to your head. Oh no, I'm never gonna let it get to my head. Believe me, I'm always amazed that you all are here every week. No matter what happens, I will always be amazed that you all are here every week. For the first topic, I want to talk the rumor. Not rumor. I think we've moved beyond it being a rumor. I think we moved beyond it being a rumor. Supposedly there are 2 new Switches coming, possibly as early as this year. They are not actually called the Switch XL and the Switch Lite so far. Technically, I think they are still rumors. Unless they did confirm it. They might have confirmed it. But, stole a cat. There is what they're saying is a larger Switch and a smaller Switch. I just watched the Game News cover of this. Nintendo has a habit of doing stuff like this, especially with their Neon Mole, I don't consider this a transition. This is technically the first topic. That beginning stuff is just fluff. They have this habit of making the bigger version of it. They did it with the 3DS. They did the new 3DS and 3DS XL. DS, was it DS XL? Was that the first one? I don't understand a larger Switch. How would that even be Suave. Okay, so here's the thing. The Switch is portable. DSi XL, that's what it was. The Switch is portable. Not handheld. It works as a handheld, but it's a portable system. I have said before that I like the idea of a bigger Switch. You can leave the controllers the same size if you really are tied to those controllers. I would not... I don't have my Switch here. I would not have a problem if the Switch was the same screen size, but a little thicker. I wouldn't even mind it being a little bit larger as a screen size. I do not play my Switch completely portable, unplugged, because it doesn't last that long. The battery power is awful. So I don't bother playing it without a plug close by. There's no reason for me to... It's not going to last. Since that's the case, I would be okay with the slightly larger Switch that the graphics acceleration that comes in the dock, I would be very happy for a larger Switch that has that built into the system. Maybe even more. Even put a more powerful one in there. How about a bigger Switch with a bigger dock that will up the graphics capabilities even more? And I think that's the big thing here, is that not only could we get with the Switch XL, because I want to talk about the Switch XL, and then I want to talk about the Switch Lite. Not only with the Switch XL, we could get a more powerful handheld system. Theoretically, we could get a more powerful home system. It could come with a better dock that ups the graphics capabilities. It could come with 2 new Joy-Cons that grown-ups can use as a single Joy-Con. Because I'm sorry, that Joy-Con is way too small for someone with big hands, and you know what else that means. So 4K Switch. Why? If not a 4K Switch, how about a 1440 Switch, or a locked-in, guaranteed 1080-60 Switch? At this day and age, all the 3 big video game companies should all be putting out 1080-60 game systems baseline. There's no reason other than the fact that it's handheld. The Switch in dock should be 1080p, 60 frames per second. Bottom line. Tend to play dock more than undocked. It'll undock. I'll undock and play for a bit while on Final Fantasy 14, waiting for. I have big hands and I can't. I have the hardest. I make it work, but that doesn't mean I don't look like a bear riding riding a little bicycle in the circus. A 4K switch would be incredible. I would, and yeah, I would take a 4K switch docked. If you tell me that the dock adds this capability, and when I take it out of the dock, I've got a 1080p system, I'm totally okay with that. It can be twice as thick as it is. Let's face it, the Switch is not a pocket system. I hate when people say that, oh, it's so handheld, you put it right in your pocket. No, it's not. You don't put it in your pocket anyway because you got a case for it. Elements, thank you for the invitation to the host club and welcome. You put it in the case. Everybody buys a Switch case, and if you don't, you should, because it's gonna get scratched, it's gonna get damaged. Like, it's a Switch. It's amazing. It deserves a case. I don't remember the last time I touched my Joy-Cons. They plugged into the system. I had my Joy-Cons into the system until I would get into certain games and it would read the Joy-Con first, but then my Joy-Cons are doing the drifting sticks, so I took them out, desynced them from the system, and I don't even bring them with me anywhere, because if the system detects them, my character will drift slightly because it's picking up the left motion from my controller, and my right Joy-Con started doing it too, which is why I stopped bringing them along. Couldn't stuff like video quality be updated through software? I don't want to be told buy another version of what you recently bought. I would hope that there is a software version upgrade that they could do, but no amount of software updating is going to replace a physical parts upgrade. If it's at all possible, the new dock for the Switch, and this is all speculation, by the way. This is all speculation. We don't actually know any of this. I am pretty much making all of this stuff up as I go. A new Switch dock, Switch XL dock with expanded graphics acceleration. If you make it so that works with the old Switch, you could say, hey, go to the store. You can get the brand new Switch XL. It's $399.99. It comes with the dock 2.0 and the Switch XL. Or for $99.99, you can go buy just the dock 2.0. Obviously, you'll still have the same Switch, but the graphics acceleration that it provides when you dock your system is enhanced. I think some people would be okay with that. If you enhance it enough, I think I would. I'm fine with the system with the size that it is. I wouldn't mind a little bit bigger. But if you told me that I can go buy a better dock to make the image on my screen significantly better, I'd go with that. At least until I could get another system. And then you still offer the option for people to buy the Switch XL without the dock. Because I think a lot of people like that. A lot of people like the idea of being able to buy the Switch without the dock included. Because there are a lot of people who I'm seeing here don't really play it connected to the TV. I have two docks. I bought my second dock and power supply. No, not the power supply. Just the dock and the HDMI cable. I bought that from somebody who wasn't using it because they don't ever plug it to the TV. So I needed a second dock. This is before the docks were available in the store. So I got the second dock. I'm sorry. I got that dock from somebody. I did not buy it. I had to buy the new power cord because they needed that. But they gave me the second dock. Is Johnny going to buy both of them? I doubt it. I would imagine he would buy the XL. Switch XL. Agent Fox, that's the big question. Because they did that with the new 3DS, which I did not like. They released a few games that you're required to use the new 3DS, which to me, the second you put a game on the system that requires that system to be played, that is a new system with backwards compatibility. I know that technically it's not, but that's how I see it. I see it as a new system that has backwards compatibility because it's not a Switch. If I have to, the new 3DS, I'm not buying a 3DS game. I'm buying a new 3DS game, which is very confusing. I would buy a Dock 2.0 and have developers patch all their existing games to better support graphics. Probably not possible, but would be nice. I would imagine that it is somewhat possible. I think it's just not simple. I haven't docked it because I was told without a screen protector, it won't scratch Rocky Bear. It won't scratch a visible part of your screen. There is a dark area around that is technically the screen, but does not display anything. That's where it could get scratched up. I've never seen them scratched. If you go to GameStop and you buy a Switch case, some of them come with a screen protector in it. So you'll have an extra screen protector. You'll have a screen protector to put on there, which the screen protectors work perfectly. What the hell? I get in this like buzzing now. Okay. And that's just the Switch XL. The reason I wanted to talk about the Switch XL first is because the Switch XL could affect current Switch owners with a Dock 2.0, better Joy-Con, or different Joy-Con at least. There is some effect that a Switch XL could have on all current Switch owners. The biggest, the Switch Lite. They're also working on a smaller one, which I'm dubbing the Switch Lite because, quite frankly, they're going to do it. I think that the Switch Lite would be amazing. A little bit smaller. The issue there is Joy-Cons that don't detach. The problem with that is that you lose 2-player capabilities. One of the Switch's big things was you put your Switch down, you use the crappy little kickstand that came with it, which it is a crappy little kickstand. Mine doesn't close all the way, so now I have it taped closed. I have a piece of Scotch tape over it to close it because that's also the cover. There's a train outside. That's also the cover for your SD card. So I didn't want that exposed because I was going to take the thing off, but I don't want it exposed, so I put a piece of tape over it. The whole idea was that you'd be able to put it down, take 2 controllers out, and you'd always be able to play 2-player games wherever you go because you'd always have 2 Joy-Cons. Also, if the attached Joy-Cons break, you're out of a Switch Mini. CT, but if your attached controllers on your 3DS broke, you were out of 3DS. That's always been a threat with portable games. That's not something that's new to Nintendo Switch. That's always going to be the case. If your controller breaks on your handheld system, it's broken. That it's plain and simple. Joy-Con, unfortunately, have a history of the first run anyway, have a history of not working properly. But they have, from what I understand, they fixed that. My understanding is that modern Joy-Con now, ones that released 6 months after the system came out, work fine. That they don't have the drifting sticks. Mine is a day one system, so it has the drifting sticks. Which, and understand the thing about that only started maybe 6 months ago with the drifting control sticks. But yeah, that's always been a threat. So the idea of the controller breaking and having to get a whole new system has always been a danger. It just doesn't. That's really the only thing it affects, though, is the ability to play 2-player games. Because you can't detach the Joy-Con, assuming that's how they do it. If you make them detachable, okay, That's fine. Excuse me. But how small are those Joy-Con going to be? The whole point of releasing a smaller version to be more portable with better battery life is that it is smaller. The Joy-Con are already this big. And I'm not even exaggerating. They're this big. It would have to be like that. I'm not playing that. I would think barely smaller than the current Switch and non-detachable Joy-Con, to me, I think is a more realistic thing to do with a Switch Lite. It's the 2DS all over again. No, Gabby, it's the 2DS all over again when we have the Switch Lite like 4.0, because the 2DS was what, the fourth or fifth, maybe even sixth version of the 3DS that came out. Yeah, and the Joy-Con are already pretty small. I'm hearing the cut the HD rumble. From day one of the presentation of the Switch, what was that, January 12th, like 2 years ago? From day one, cut the HD. A lot of games. No, R-Wing, Rumble they use. But this whole HD Rumble thing, knock it off. Looking at the current Joy-Con, you could use a little from the top. You can lose a little from the top and keep the buttons and layout exactly the same. But the hand cramp would be massive. It's just not worth it. Okay. It's just not worth it for us. We are probably not the target market for this. This was something that I wanted to bring up. I am hearing rumors that a Switch Lite would be, and I think you guys mentioned it already, like one of those tough systems where it's thicker plastic so that it's more durable, so that kids would be able to play it. If this Switch Lite is aimed at children to be more durable and more playable for them, then smaller Joy-Cons would still work. Small kids have small hands. Smaller Joy-Con would still be playable for them. And the system would still be playable when it's attached. You know what I want? For game companies to start releasing crap that works right day one. No upgrading the system a quarter step and releasing that as something brand new. No games that need a download to work correctly. Just release a system that works and develop games for it, and you get the most out. You know what? Yes, I would love for companies to release stuff that works day one and continues to work day 365. That would be very nice. What I don't mind is upgrading. I don't mind 2 years later saying, okay, we're going to make a Switch XL that's a little bit bigger because some people like it a little bit bigger, that has a little more graphical power. I got to go, y'all. I'm sorry, Rye. Have a good day, though. Thank you for stopping in. I'm sorry that you're having a crummy day. I don't mind that. I don't mind them looking at the market after their system has been released and saying, how can we improve upon it? Making a Switch XL is improving upon it. Making a smaller, more durable Switch for kids is improving upon it. Having to make new Joy-Con because the first ones don't work, that is not an improvement. That is a mistake that you now are correcting. I don't like that. But the idea of making a better one later on, I'm okay with that. Oh God, day one PS1. Dude, those 1001 series PS1s were a disaster. At least the Switch works. You know, I have a Pro Controller. The Pro Controller works like a dream. I detached the Joy-Con and I don't have that problem anymore. I like my Pro Controller anyway, so I bring that with me. Whenever I go somewhere with my Switch, my Joy-Con and the Switch are in my backpack. So I don't really worry about that. It sucks that I can't keep using the Joy-Con because they don't work properly, but yeah, at least it works. The day one PS1s, you had to put them on their side after a while. Then you had to put them completely upside down after a while. Then that didn't work, and you had to open them up and turn the potentiometer to, I think that's what it's called. You had to change that to fix the damn system. There's also the issue of day one Switches having their casing cracked due to overheating. That I find interesting. I've never actually seen one in real life like that. I've seen pictures online, but I've never actually seen one in real life. I'm not saying that they haven't happened, but I didn't see that much of that. Can you leave the Switch on the dock and no worrying about overcharging the battery? My system was in its dock for a while. There was a few months where I wasn't playing it, and it just stayed in the dock. I didn't really have a problem. Yeah, I never really had a problem with it. I don't understand. I don't really get that as far as leaving something plugged in for what they call an extended period of time is bad for it. I have left my phone plugged in all day long. Not a problem. My Switch was plugged in very literally for months. Not a problem. I don't know what they mean by extended period of time when they talk about that. Yeah, I have a day one Switch, use it every day, and while it does get hot depending on the game, yeah, no cracks. I heard it wasn't overheating. Yeah, well, you know what mine is doing now? When I first turn it on, I hear the fan spinning really fast, and then it stops after a while. I have YouTube running in nights during my sleep frame and is okay. What do you use a brown noise? I'm curious as to why your Switch is running with YouTube. Do you have music or brown noise on? For anybody that has never slept with brown noise on, it is freaking amazing. If you ever get a chance, try it. That's just planned obsolescence. Aha. I got it. There is elements. There is white noise and there is brown noise. Brown noise is a little bit lower tone, and white noise is designed to be noise. Brown noise is designed to drown out other sound. It's like a lower tone. It's amazing. Random noise during sleep. Yeah, some people like that. If white noise is is TV static. Remember, that was the old white noise. But white noise is kind of loud. Undercut the frequency of that sound, and you'll get what they call brown noise. White noise is just white noise is racist. Yeah, overcharging tends to affect your device little by little, so probably won't notice its effect until years later. Yeah, until years later, when the battery life is going to be dead anyway, or you're not even going to use the device anymore. You know, don't leave your phone plugged in because it's gonna drain the maximum capacity of your battery. Yeah, over like 5 years, I'm gonna change my phone in 3. Pink noise is good too. Yeah, I like that stuff. I looked into one of those, like white noise machines, brown noise machines, or whatever. They're expensive. White noise with ambient. No, that's ambient sound. Those are ambient sounds. Those are, they will be like sounds of the rainforest and stuff like that. No, these other sounds are meant to be a steady noise that drowns out other noises. It's amazing. I did it once. Because I always heard that it was really good. So on YouTube, I found like an 8-hour playlist of brown noise, and then I took a nap. I laid down. I woke up like 3 hours later. It was amazing. Yeah, just get a fan. Yeah, Rocky Bear. We have ceiling fan. I like when there's a fan in the window. Air conditioners are common. A lot of people will say that they sleep much more comfortable in an with an air conditioner on, and part of it is that there's that constant noise. That's how they get you. Yeah, by the time, yeah, John Potter, the time it takes to actually have an effect. But I bring a phone charger with me everywhere anyway, just in case. I've only tried sleeping with ambient noises. Unknown USB-C connectors. Usually not. Okay. I used to sleep to gun sounds of police. Rocky Bear, I lived in North Philadelphia. So did I. Oh man, yeah. But yeah, I did. But we like to get sidetracked here. The Switch, these double switches. These two new switches are interesting. They are, in my opinion, I think a lot of people are going to argue that they're cash grabs. And I don't think they are. I don't think that they're cash grabs. I think they are responses to to market demand. I think that that's exactly what they are. I did not complain when PS4 and Xbox One made their Pro versions. I have no complaints about that. The Xbox One sad, I have no complaints about that. Sagers, I have no complaints about, except I have lots of complaints about. I have no complaints about any of those because they are reaction to the market. Customers want 4K gaming, so you have to put new systems out that have 4K gaming. Some customers don't want to buy physical media; they do digital only, and they want a cheaper system to reflect that. So you make the Xbox One sad. I'm okay with that because they're not required. Now, the second they say you absolutely need a PS4 to play this game, a PS4 Pro. You absolutely need to have an Xbox One sad in order to download this game. You definitely need an XL Switch in order to buy this game. That's when I start to say, okay, now you are manipulating your consumer base into these products. Cuddle the jugular. That's it. Cuddle the jugular, Lilac. Switch does make up 80% of Nintendo's profits now, as long as they don't replace the OG version with the. Yeah, I think that's the most important issue, and that's a question that needs to be asked of Nintendo. If these two systems exist, is the plan to eliminate the OG size Switch, or is it to have 3 different size systems on the market? That's a very important question that I don't know if anybody's asking or not. Am I out of touch? No. It's the children who are wrong. I cough on you, buddy. I don't mind there being a more powerful Switch made in order to compete with the upcoming gen systems. I just don't want it to restrict people from playing games on older systems. Exactly. I don't want them to make a Switch XL and then start making games that require the Switch XL. You're going to lose people when you do that. I personally think they lost a lot of people with the new 3DS. While most PS4 games are being made for the Pro, you can still play them easily on the base system. Yeah, like you said, there has to remain a baseline. And there needs to be, if you want to make something better than the baseline or something different than the baseline, that's okay. Don't change the baseline. Yeah, I don't care about 4K gaming. So I would never get a PS4 Pro. I like physical media. So I would never get an Xbox One sad. 50 bits for the later. Oh, he was a very good boy this week. We went to the vet. He got he's got a rabies shot, rabies vaccine, and he got his checkup, and he's doing very, very well. Right, buddy? Did the new 3DS have any restricted games that weren't ported? Yes. Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles. I think Majora's Mask. Yeah, no, I think they were all ports. No, yeah, that weren't port. No, I don't think it had any game. Okay, so I don't think it had any games that weren't ports, but Xenoblade was not readily available on the system. So I would argue that more people played it on the new 3DS than played it on the Wii. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just talking out of my ass, but yeah. Maybe have games that will have better graphics for the newer console, but give those games a setting that can make them work. Yeah, exactly. The 3DS is dying off faster than Nintendo expected. I think it's dying. If it is dying faster than Nintendo expected, I think it's because the Switch is succeeding better than they expected. The 3DS would still be thriving more than ever. Thank you for the 50 bits, by the way, Lilac. I don't think I said thank you for that. If the Switch failed, the 3DS would still be fine. But the Switch isn't failing. The Switch is doing the very opposite of failing. So there is a viable place for the portable market to go to. And honestly, I think that would be a driving motive to make a smaller Switch. Maybe there are people out there who are still steadfast 3DS fans because all they do is play portable and they need the system to be more portable. The Switch doesn't work for them. So if you feel like your system has the capacity to replace the 3DS, with the exception of the fact that it's a little too big and the battery life is a little too bad, it would make sense then to make a smaller Switch specifically for those people. So you could say the Joy-Con don't detach, so it's not that kind of system. The battery life is significantly better. The system is smaller, so it's way more portable. Those people who are hanging on to the 3DS would then be able to say, now there's nothing to stop me from getting a Switch. There's no reasoning other than wanting to continue playing my old 3DS games. There's no reasoning to not move over to a Switch Lite. And again, that is a response to a market. That is not a cash grab. So I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think they would. Arwing, I would not be surprised if they market it that way. If they announce a Switch Lite, I promise you, sometime around the same exact time of that announcement, they're going to announce that they will officially not be supporting the 3DS anymore. No more firmware updates, no more games, no more nothing. Because I don't think they have officially announced the end of the 3DS, right? I may be wrong. I'm probably wrong. Is the Mini way more portable? Well, they don't know. We don't know, Agent Fox. At this point, this is all still speculation. I just don't want Nintendo to take their time with systems instead of rushing them out. I was worried when the Switch was initially coming out because of the Wii U. I'm glad I took the dive, but there's still some stuff I wish was better. More battery life, absolutely. Stronger feel of the Joy-Cons of the console. I'm a little bit with that. Thicker Joy-Con. I have these grips, these rubber grips for my Joy-Con that make them way better. It makes it easier to hold the system when it's a one-piece system. I wish the Joy-Con were a little bit thicker. If they can't be bigger, then just thicker. Yeah, thicker, sturdier case and 1080. Definitely 1080. That's kind of how the Game Boy was, I think. I don't know if it was because of the Game Boy Color or the GBA. By the time the SP came out, there was really no need to own an older Game Boy anymore. Exactly. I'm expecting the price for the XL to be $350 and the lighter one to be $250. That seems okay. Um, Truth be told, I would expect 250 for the Lite and 400 for the XL, assuming that the XL came with a dock 2.0 that like I said enhances a graphic acceleration. If it works even better than the first dock. If it's just the dock for the Switch XL, I would say 350 makes more sense. One night consoles will have a lot of issues because they're already considering upgrading them. I mean, they've already had a lot of issues, but I don't know that it's gonna ever be dramatically worse. I think systems are just gonna have issues. If a Switch Lite happens, you think there would be a way to have some joy? I don't think so. I think a Switch Lite would have permanently connected Joy-Con. I think it just makes more sense that way. Okay, we are going to try something here. I'm gonna push this button and we're gonna see what happens because we're gonna switch topics. Oh my god. Oh no, wait. Yeah, there we go. I'm on the road. I just wanted to say happy 50th Silver Lining. Thank you very, very, very much, De Niro. Very much appreciated. I think the XL will be more than the OG. Or XL 300. Okay. Super loud. Yeah, that was a bit loud. Oh, you know why that was a bit? I know exactly why that was a bit loud. Hold on a second here. Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit because that's for when I do that next time. Action, play audio. Let me turn that down. There we go. Okay, that should work fine. All right. So the Sony Direct. Let's call it what it is. Actually, no, we're not going to call it the Sony Direct. We're going to call it what it is, which is PlayStation's State of Play. I'm going to call it that because it has not reached direct status yet. We have not gotten to the point where it deserves the title of direct. Okay. Let's start right at the beginning. I did not know this thing was happening until earlier that day. No idea. I remember people were asking if I was going to talk about it, if I was going to watch it. And I remember thinking, what the hell are you talking about? And I looked it up, and yeah, so Sony has pulled out of E3, right? E3. They said that they're not going to have a big showing there, and they started doing State of Play, which is effectively Sony Directs. So we watched it. We watched the first State of Play ever. Remember where you were, people. First State of Play ever. It was dull. It was doesn't roll off the tongue as much. Yeah, I think they wanted it to be like, I don't know, like State of the Union. You know, they always have the State of the Union where they talk about what's going on, State of Play. I like the idea, like you said, of like Phil said, call it PlayStation Underground. I remember those. Jam Pack. Was it Sony? Was it PSM Magazine that used to release the demos and they were called Jam Pack? I think that a nod to the other stuff would have been more interesting. Call it the demo disc. Oh my god. Did you check out Sony's new demo disc? And then that's the name of their presentation. Call it the demo disc. PlayStation Underground, I think, is fine. So it was the first one. It was effectively an info dump. Is really all it was. That's which is, you know, you could argue that that's what Nintendo Direct is, but they try and do it in a way that develops hype. they try and do it in a way that is interesting, not just for the information that you're getting, but for what you're watching. It was, as a presentation, it was dull. As the information, as far as the information we got, it was boring. What we got was a ton of VR stuff. I have been saying, gamer guys, thank you so much for the host club. That's what I've been saying. I've been saying for a while that VR is a fad. I think VR is a fad. I think that it's going to go away and no one's going to care. Hello, gamer guy. What's going on? They don't want it to. They've sold like 4 million VR units. They don't want it to go away. I am having a hard time here, by the way. They don't want it to go away, so they are pushing it hard. And they figured it's their first state of play. People are going to want to watch it because they're going to want to see what it's like. And what we got was a snooze fest. Right off the bat, you start with that Iron Man game, which everybody thought it was going to be Spider-Man, but with Iron Man. And it was a VR game. And then it was just a snooze fest from there. Sony needs to learn, and this is where I'll cut them some slack. I will cut them some slack because this was their first event, and what they don't know how to do that Nintendo is amazing at is build hype. They don't know how to start. If that Iron Man game was a Spider-Man style game, not VR, just a plain old video game, I think that a lot of people would have accepted the next 20 minutes a lot more positively. But when you open the show with a VR game that nobody wants or asks for, hey, Mr. Sonic, you're putting everybody to sleep. You're making everybody tired. And then the rest of it's going to put them to sleep. In all honesty, I really don't remember much of anything as far as the games. I watched it. I looked it over. I looked over notes for it. I don't remember crap about that direct. Why wouldn't you say Nintendo what Sony don't? The problem with the presentation is they were really pushing the VR system and telling us information that we already know at this point. Yeah, and that's sort of where I was going with that. I'm not cutting them any slack. They didn't do anything to show from E3 last year. Okay, yeah. You didn't show anything that might be interesting. You showed a bunch of stuff that has been talked about for so long that no one cares anymore. Days Gone. Who cares? Daryl Dixon, the video game. That's what Days Gone is, and that hype is already over. That hype train rolled out of the station a long time ago because you slept on it. You wanna? I've never used VR, but I have to ask: the VR even worth? It's a personal question. That's not personal, like part of my life. What's so neat? Iron Man game. What? Yeah, DB Stewart. They showed this Iron Man game that looked great, and then it turned out to be a VR game. While I do think VR has potential, like Stadia, much like Stadia, we're nowhere near the tech to make it. But yeah, as long as you got to strap a big thing to your head, people are not going to want to go for it. If you made VR glasses this big, I think people would be more accepting of it. But as long as you have to strap a giant thing to your head, people are not going to like that. You should have started the show with something more hype building. More interesting. Later, Rocky Bear, have a good one. Thank you very much for stopping in. Thank you for all support over 50 episodes. But then again, it was under the VR area, of course. Here's what you could have started with. Here's what Sony could have started with. You could have started with more information about Ghost of Tsushima. I think would have been something that people would have been very happy about, especially with the hype of Sekiro out right now. Ghost of Tsushima, you finally put a release date out. You tell us more about what's going on. You tell us about the story. Bring back Cornelius Boots so he can play the Shakuhachi flute again, because that was amazing from last year. And you do something that people still want to be in their minds. And then from there you roll on. These little info dumps, the ones mid event, I'm gonna call them mid event. If you do one of these around E3, you better be showing off some really hot stuff. When you do them now, you should still be showing off some interesting stuff. There were games that could have saved the presentation that were missing, like the Medieval remake. Imagine, I want you to close your eye. I want to go somewhere special with everybody here.
Wow, the land of make-believe.
Sony's State of Play begins, and the first thing you see is that they are bringing back PT. Immediately, people's heads would have exploded. No way in a million years. It was super short. PT was supposed to be a demo for a further game. If you would have told people at the beginning of your State of Play, the first thing you do at the beginning of your State of Play is you say, we are re-uploading the PT demo. You don't even have to announce it as a game. Just say you're bringing back the PT demo. People would have lost their brains over that. Then you go on through the rest of your stuff. You talk about Ghost of Tsushima a little bit. Maybe you talk about some upgrades that are coming to other games. You have a VR portion. My God, you don't spread it out through the whole thing. You have a VR portion. Sony releases Kingdom Hearts 4 End of Illusions. Yeah, announce Kingdom Hearts 4 now, because it's going to take 17 years anyway. You do all of this. And again, we are still in the land of make-believe. At the end of the State of Play, because you got to end it with some hype, especially for the first one. You really should have ended it with some hype. At the end of it, you show the PT demo again. And then you announce that it is no longer just a demo, that there is a game coming out based on it. Because in the beginning, all you did was you put the PT demo back up. So people would have already assumed, okay, there's a game. They're probably going to make a game coming out, or they're at least making the demo available. At the end of it, you announce that there is an actual game coming out, a new Silent Hill game. And that's what it's for. That's why they're bringing the demo back. People would have left that event. They would have closed their screens, and they would have openly wept at how amazing it was. They wouldn't have cared that there was a whole section dedicated to VR. They wouldn't have cared that a lot of the other stuff in the middle was sort of blah. CT, no. I'm going to explain why. John Sony walks up on stage. We're making Crash 4. That's the kind of hype that you should have had for your first event like this. And that's the kind of hype that they need to learn it takes for these events to mean something. Because right now, when the next State of Play happens, the only thing people are going to say is, boy, I hope it's better than the last one. Hard to, I hope it's at least more interesting. That's the kind of event that you need to happen. You know, when Nintendo does their directs, they always had, up until recently, they always had a 3DS section, which most people just didn't really care about. Everything in the middle was always kind of blah, which people didn't really care about. Look at this last Indies Direct. The Nindies, I'm sorry. The last Nindies Direct. Most people that I have talked to have said that the Nindies Directs are normally just kind of, they're there. They're info dumps. It's okay. Look at this one. You started with Cuphead, and you had this whole big talk about Cuphead, and then you ended with Cadence of Hyrule. The middle was boring. I'm sorry. I thought a lot of the stuff in the middle was very boring. I thought that there were a couple of cool games. What was that? Katana Zero? I thought there were a couple of okay games, but they were exactly that. They were just okay. The middle of that presentation was every Nindies Direct for me. It was just sort of blah in the middle. Blaster Master 2 was very exciting. I'll give you that one. Blaster Master 2 was very exciting. But because you bookended it with such big events, it's interesting, because think about it. Not a lot of people are saying, oh, well, the Nindies was lackluster except for these two things. Most people are saying the Nindies was actually really awesome, but it was a little saggy in the middle. You know, we're having the discussion now about Cuphead, which is leading into the discussion about Nintendo working with Microsoft. We're having the discussion about Nintendo letting an indie company use their IPs for Cadence of Hyrule. Those are big discussions, and that makes us remember the Nindies in a positive light. Turn a Nindy in, yeah, they turn a Nindy into hype, and you know why? Because they've had years of doing these events, so they know how to do it. Sony, and this is why I say I'm cutting Sony slack on the boringness of the state of play. It's their first one. Sony doesn't know how to build hype yet, and they're gonna learn. I think they're gonna learn. From a business standpoint, it should be concerning that a company as old and established as Sony has no idea how to do marketing. DB, because they have spent a very, very long time, too long, relying on word of mouth to spread how great they are. But people know now that there are better, more viable options. They don't need Sony anymore. They don't feel like they need Sony anymore. So for the first time in a long time, Sony needs to actually put effort into their marketing, and they don't know how to do it because marketing itself has changed. With social media the way it's been, with the speed of information that people are getting to, the whole idea of marketing is changed, and they haven't had to do it in a while. I talked about this on Twitter, but like, the directs are appealing because their presentations felt homey and personal. Sony's felt very corporate. Yeah, Sony did what they do at E3, which is they stepped up on stage and they told you everything that was going to happen. That's not what they're for. You don't build hype that way. It needs to be interesting. It needs to speak to the consumer, not talk at the consumer. And they're going to learn. The Nintendo Indies was lackluster for me, but still had good stuff. Cuphead carried it, and Nintendo always had, yeah. Also earned the right to have a lackluster presentation. I'm moving through. My friend Pedro, Agent Fox. I think My Friend Pedro is a comical premise that is, after it comes out, people are gonna stop talking about it in a week. That is my quick hot take on My Friend Pedro. It looks funny. It's a funny concept. You shoot people because your best friend is a banana, and in a week no one's gonna care. Great cleaning games today. CT, eventually I am going to get a second camera. That's when I'll return to the game cleaning. I do want to get a second camera for that. their second direct around E3. They've got, in Gamer Guy, they've got 3 months to figure out how to do it. Last time they tried to build hype, they got accused of racism and cultural appropriation with the Japanese flute player, which, by the way, is a very hard thing to learn. That Japanese flute player, Lilac, his name is Cornelius Boots, and he is one of the few people in the world that is recognized as a master of that instrument. He dresses that way because the instrument is part of that culture, so he does that. That's him that does that. Yeah, a lot of people were very quick to, like, they got a white guy up there dressed like that. And when because I looked into it, I was curious about it, and I looked into it, and yeah, he is like a master of that instrument. By the way, that performance, I still listen to from time to time, and it gives me freaking chills. I don't even care about Ghost of Tsushima, but that performance is amazing. I had bread with avocado too. Oh, look at you, fancy, with your avocado toast. You damn millennials. These things need to be playing like plays. A soft, alluring first act, an edge of your seat second act, and a strong, thrilling third act. DB, it depends, because you could argue for these that a moderately thrilling first act, a soft, alluring middle, and a rousing third, I think would be more functional. And I think that's what Nintendo does. I feel like that's what Nintendo does with their directs, is that they try and start it off with something hype. They show you the junk in the middle, and then they blow your mind by the end. Do you think EA is going to do directs like this because they're not? I hope that EA does directs like this, because it would be nice to be able to plan out my bathroom breaks a little bit more consistently, because quite frankly, I don't care what EA does. No, in all seriousness, I don't think EA is going to do stuff. If EA pulled out of E3 also, I honestly think that EA pulled out of E3 because they have nothing major to show. That's really what I think is happening. And I think they'll be back next year, assuming they have stuff to show. I just think that if they did a direct right now, or they did an E3 presentation, they wouldn't have anything to show. And then they would catch flack for showing nothing but junk and stuff that isn't going to be ready. Stuff that that they showed last year and are going to show next year. Oh yeah, Crash Team Racing was a nice little hype there. Problem is that everyone knew about it, and the retro skin thing didn't need to be in the presentation. That could have been a side announcement. I don't mind that was in the presentation, but yeah, everybody kind of knew that it was going to happen. That's the thing. I don't remember there being a whole lot of AAA titles that were announced first during the State of Play. Most of that State of Play stuff we already knew about. Can't forget Digital Devolver. God, Digital Devolver with their crazy prison. That's what they're known for at this point. I like to build the crescendo to a climax. What's the topic now? We were talking about the state of play. Yeah, I think that Sony should be doing state of play. I think that they should have a presentation like Nintendo. And remember, we've talked about that before. As far as we did a video about whether or not E3 is even necessary anymore. And I argue that it's not necessary, because E3 used to be a dumping ground for large swaths of information, and then we got a little bit throughout the year. We used to have video game magazines that would come out once a month, and we barely got real information. Now we get information all the time. Nintendo does directs, and then right after the direct, they do an info dump on Twitter. We get a bunch of messages on Twitter that are things that were just not important enough to announce during the direct. We get information. So we don't need a large event like E3 anymore. Sure, it's fun to have this monument to rally around, but it's not necessary anymore. So I like that they're doing this. Meow. Sage jumped into the screen. Yeah, they just, gamer guy, they just need somebody to teach them how to build hype. The kind of information that people want to hear and what we want to see. I don't know. I think it could be. I think this is important. I think that State of Play needs to continue, and I think that they need to work on it. There's potential with what we saw with this last one, which was the first one. But if they don't fix it, I don't think this is something that is going to be a non-issue. If these get better, it's going to be better for Sony. If they stay like this, it's going to be worse for Sony. I honestly think this is something that people are going to start to look at and say, boy, they're just boring all the time. Wasn't E3 about advances in tech before the industry? Yeah, it was the Electronics Entertainment Expo, which is what it's still called. But it used to really be about that, about new technologies. Apparently, it still is, but all we ever hear about are video games. Yeah, Sony's had a drought for some time. Suave, imagine. Sony's had a drought for some times, but they still sell millions. They still sell millions of games and millions of systems because they rely on popularity and word of mouth. That's not working anymore. Now they're getting a bad reputation, and they need to fix that. These state of plays are a way for them to fix that, but not if what happened this week keeps happening. Okay. That went on a little while. So let's hang on. Let's hope. All right. Noise warning. I turned it down, but let's see how it works. Oh my God, it's still loud. Okay. I need to turn that down some more. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, there we go. I'm glad that we got the little buttons. I'm hoping that works too. I have a button set up to do something specific on my Stream Deck, and I'm hoping it's working. Okay. 50 episodes. Woo! We're getting a clip show. Clip show incoming. No, we're not. Clip show means your show is dying. This is the 50th episode of The Silver Lining. I've been streaming since not last November, the November before. November 2017 was the first time we started streaming here, which was the laptop with the laptop camera. God, it was the old laptop too. It wasn't even the laptop that I just replaced. It was the one before that. With the laptop camera, we had the USB mic, which I actually still have here. It was this microphone, but a USB version plugged right into the computer. And we played emulators. We played Super Nintendo. I think the first game I streamed was Gradius 3. It was either Gradius 3 or Batman Returns. Where's the fireworks? Who is it? Back to the emulator day, sitting in front of the door. That's right. The desk was over here, so the camera was facing this way. So my back was to the door. I think I joined when I did. I think you joined when I did Blaster Master 0. Did I do Blaster Master? Oh God, I did stream Blaster Master 0. I forget that I even streamed that. Where's the Silver Lining movie to celebrate 50 episodes? Yeah, I just I don't know. I don't even know if there's even a topic here. I just first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for making it worth it to get to 50 episodes. It's so great that everybody comes here and hangs out and watches and listens and contributes. Contributes is one of my favorite things, and I don't mean donating bits or money or subscribing or anything. I mean adding something to the stream as far as chat, in getting engaged with these topics, getting engaged with each other, not getting married. It I think I joined around episode 30. Blaster Master Zero, I know I uploaded as a YouTube part, like a Let's Play. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did there. I know I hopped in around the Final Fantasy Tactics and LTTP randomizer. Yeah, that was those were emulator days with the disastrous PlayStation emulator that when I would die playing Final Fantasy Tactics, when I started the game again, the speed would be at the audio would be at double speed. So I had to turn the whole emulator off and turn it back on. And that was just because it was easy. Did you talk much about State of... Yeah, Aqua, unfortunately we did. Thank you for stopping in, though. I streamed Blaster Master... Oh, I streamed Blaster Master Zero as a test stream. Oh, I thought I streamed... I'm pretty sure Gradius 3 was the first game I streamed as a test stream. Extra incentive to not die. Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad I started doing this. I'm whether or not it quote unquote succeeded, whether or not it took off and people were watching or not. I would have been happy that I at least started doing it, that I gave it a shot. One of the reasons I started doing it was because there were nights where I wished I was streaming, believe it or not. Before I started streaming, I started trying to do Let's Play videos. If you go to my channel, I know that I've got old stuff. Like I played through Turtles in Time. I played through Contra Hardcore, I think was the first one that I did. I didn't even talk. Contra Hardcore, I didn't even have a microphone at the time, so I just recorded playthroughs. And then eventually I got the microphone, so I was able to do talking, and they were Let's Plays. They were me recording, and then eventually I got a capture card so that I could record off of original hardware. But again, they were all just Let's Plays. But there were nights where I wished I would have been up late, I would have just been hanging out, and I would have wished that I was streaming. So I decided to figure out how to set up streams. My capture card, since it's an older one, wouldn't work. So I had to stream emulators. That was why I went back to emulators. I did it the first couple of times, and I thought it was amazing. Sean, that is exactly why I continued to do it. I liked making games, like Let's Play videos, but since I'm by myself, it was less interesting. It was just me blah blah blahing for a while, and there's only so much of that I can do. Even me, and I ramble. Having other people here was way more. I felt like it created more interesting content, but more importantly, it was more interesting for me to do, and I enjoyed it. And I got to talk to a lot of cool people over the course of a year and a half. A year and a half of doing this. I don't remember. I can tell you this. I don't remember when the first episode of this was, of Silver Lining. I was streaming gameplay for a while before I started doing this. And yeah, it had to have been early, like February maybe. I know there were a batch of weeks that we missed. Some weeks I just took off. I didn't even save the first few weeks of episodes. I think if you go onto the YouTube playlist, I think it starts like episode 3 or 4. I don't remember it. I don't remember having the first episode. I know there were a batch of episodes that we lost, footage that I didn't save it or it got deleted. I know I followed you at one point, but didn't get notifications. I don't remember. It's been over a year. To celebrate episode 100, you should make a movie where you have to save the world from an evil corporation armed with only your knowledge of retro video games and good life advice. I don't know. It's an interesting Age of Fox. That is actually an interesting concept that I had about something else that I thought would have made a really funny movie. We're not that far apart on thinking that though. I think I'm here about 6 months, roughly, the beginning of that game with the chick whose dad is a horror. Oh my god, that was Illbleed. That was through Halloween. That was October. Yeah, Illbleed. It was sometime early mid 2018. Some people can do solo work. Some people do better in a group. Yeah, I think I do better with, like you said, Sean, for being able to bounce my content off of other people. Thank you for all your work and dedication bringing this quality. I thank you, Sean, for all the support through trying to provide what I like to think is quality content, but what you have called quality content. So we'll go with yours instead of mine. Oh God, I'm 23 years old. Anybody remember what the name of that drink? Oh yeah, it was Illbleed. I was gonna ask if all the episodes are on YouTube, but it's almost it's almost all of them. I know I'm pretty sure that the first couple episodes we don't have up there. I know that there were like 5 or 6 episodes where I forgot them. Can't wait to see a TMG. Are you coming to TMG, Miss Mix? Are you coming? I thought you were. I wasn't sure if you were or not. Can we never? No, we will always speak of Illbleed. I should play Illbleed every year. I should play it every year for Halloween and then get in trouble because if I play it badly, she gets more naked, and that's against terms of services. That was right about the time I quit my job and was broke and destitute. DB Stewart, well, I'm happy to have you here. I think I found one of your videos on YouTube recommended from SGB videos. Wow. All right. I like it. I like to know that my videos are popping up. Make it as a tradition. Wow, I messed that sentence up. You also misspelled sentence. I'm just saying. Oh, still up in the air, but I got a job in Philly. So you'll be saying, well, I probably won't be seeing much more of you, but you will be closer. That's very good. It's almost like I'm a part of SGB or something, which I am not. I am not an official part of SGB. I know people have thought that, and like, no. I would not mind, but I'm not able to be there enough to be considered a part. I am guest. I am honored guest, recurring SGB guest, and I'm okay with that. Yeah, like I said, this topic, by the way, was not. This is not much of a topic, but I don't know. I just wanted to say I think that's why I wanted to talk about this. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for supporting us over 50 episodes. Hopefully, I'll see everybody that is here at 100 episodes. I don't know. Hopefully the viewership is bigger and the chat is busier, and there's more people here having a good time. I like the idea of this all being a party. I've always said I would love the stream to grow, but not to the point where everybody can't have a good time having a discussion in chat. I would never want it to get to a point where I can't converse with chat. That's one of my biggest issues. So I'm very, very appreciative that it is the way it is right now. Stream Night Trap, yeah, that'll get me banned pretty fast. I'm at my new job making money. Everything worked out for me, not for my previous job. They seem to be on the verge of closing. DB, then you got out of that ship while you could. When I left, I worked at a video game company, at a video game store for 6 years. I was at one location. I went to another location to manage it. That location started to die, and the boss basically tried to blame me for it. but he let me go back to the first location, and so I worked there. And when I left that job to come to the job that I'm currently at, I missed it. But maybe 2 years after I got out of that job, the whole company closed down. There are blessings in disguise. Don't be afraid. Don't forget to see them. So yeah, you lost that job, but you needed to lose that job to get the one that you're at. If you were still at that other job when they closed, the job you're at wouldn't have been available. This part again, really dark parody of Toy Story ending with the booze. Oh god. I found your channel through the We Are All Pixels video. I gotta say, hit me real. Oh my god, I'm Gamer Guy. That actually means a lot to me. That you found this place through that. That video is one of my favorite videos. I think that I've done. I think it's. In all honesty, I've not to toot my own horn, I feel like it's one of the most important videos that I did. And I did it. I did one video where I talked to my younger self in a way, and I really like that video. But I think We Are All Pixels. If I wanted any video of mine to really take off, it would be the We Are All Pixels, because I think that that's a big problem. I think that we do a good job of convincing ourselves that we are insignificant, and that has a cascading effect that affects the whole the entirety of the rest of our lives. We let our lives fall apart because we think we don't matter. When we realize that we are important to the whole as an individual, I think that we look at ourselves better as individuals. So I think that that's, if there were any messages that I would want to get out, it would be that one. Exactly why I quit, to free up time to get to where I am now. It was a gamble, but it worked. That's all. That's what it's all about, DB. Sometimes you got to gamble, and I don't like to gamble, which is probably why I am. I don't know. maybe if I gambled, I would have started a YouTube and Twitch channel longer ago, and we would be further along. You're the uncle that we wanted and never knew that we needed. Oh, see, now oh. Oh, my wife. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm back. Wife left me. Yeah, that's what it looks like, right? Oh man, thank you everybody so much for just, I don't know, for just supporting all of this, and hopefully continuing to support all of this. Straight De Niro, hello, by the way. I saw you pop in there. And again, hello to everybody who may have popped in and I may have missed, did not say hello to. All right. Oh, wait. Before we change, we have one more segment, I should say. Rocky Bear, thank you for the 20 bits for being the cool uncle. Very much appreciate it. Let me, hold on. I want to change something here. Before, there. Okay. Play audio. Let's turn that way down. Okay. Oh, excuse me. Excellent. That's a much more acceptable volume. And I did it. Oh, what was that for? Okay. I'm at 44 followers, on your way to affiliate. Congratulations, Straight De Niro. Everybody go follow Straight De Niro so you get the last 6. Welcome to the viewer topics portion of the show. I have a graphic. Hold on. I have a graphic. It's just my title screen with viewer topics on there, but it works. So the Spider Knife was watching. Oh, thank you, Aqua, for that. Hold it like the lean. Oh wait, yeah, you gotta do like people always do with the pictures. Oh, it's the Leaning Tower. Woo! So, welcome to the viewer topics portion of the show. As always, this is the portion where we can come up with whatever topics you guys want to ask about. If you have any questions that you want to ask, if you have any topics that you want to discuss or know my opinion on or share your opinion with, that's what we get into on this for this portion of the show. Compilation games, and how do you feel about them? Do you think do they make getting the individual games not worth it? Would you get it if you already had all of the games? I like compilation games depending on what extras they come with. I think it's worth it to get them. I like compilation games for people who did not play some of those games. A compilation just came out with and this is another issue. The game, they have to be priced properly. I think they need to be priced accordingly to the used market. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and what the hell's the other one? Detroit Become Human just came out as a compilation a few months ago. Fantastic, unbelievable, wonderful. I think it's $40 or $50. You can get Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain, depending on where you go, for $5 to $10 each. Detroit Become Human, I think you can get used for like $20 or $30. You're losing me on the idea of a compilation here. Plus, the compilation is just a box set with, I think, the 3 of them. That kind of compilation loses me. Metroid Prime Trilogy is fantastic if you haven't played 2 of them. But if you have them already, there's no incentive to go and buy the 3rd one, to go and buy the trilogy. It doesn't matter. There's nothing there. If you include art books or something, if you include extra content, if they're remastered versions of the game, that's different. But just compilations, I like them, but they really only work for people who haven't played a majority of the games that it includes. Yeah, would you get it if you already had the game? I would not get it if I already had the games, unless it comes with some extra stuff. What was your favorite game you have streamed for us? Illbleed's tough to beat. Illbleed is definitely tough to beat. I liked the Zelda randomizers. What I didn't like was that, by definition, I have to fumble about those games. I would rather play something that I'm a little bit more familiar with. Of course, Tactics is a classic as far as what we've streamed. It's an instant classic. Hard to say beyond that. I mean, we've done a lot of Super Nintendo stuff. We're doing a Mega Man right now, which is always great. One of my favorite streams was the Saturn stream, even though the system ended up not working, and we ended up opening it up, which was great. I thought that was a lot of fun, though that technically doesn't count as streaming a game. Yeah, I would have to say Illbleed was probably one of my favorites. I think just because of the shock value of the game itself. Did I catch the Borderlands 3 announcement? I know of the Borderlands 3 announcement, and I know of Borderlands, but I've never actually played those games. They seemed like first-person bang-bang shoot-'em-up games, which I usually feel is kind of stale. Admittedly, though, knowing that the 3rd one is coming out, I'm kind of interested in seeing what the first 2 look like. Or play like. I know that they're first-person games, which I don't normally like that aesthetic, but the art style is very important to me, and it looks very cool. And it just kind of does make me interested in seeing them. Because of that transition that reminds. Oh yeah, Bill and Ted 3. For anybody that doesn't know, they have announced a Bill and Ted 3. And I think fans are happy, but I think no one is happier than Alex Winter. I'm gonna go on record and say that Alex Winter is probably the happiest person in the world about Bill and Ted 3. For anybody that doesn't know, he was the other one. Everybody knows Keanu Reeves, and there was another guy. He's the other guy. Oh, tell us why I've never been in an apartment. You said it was a story. Yeah, for anybody that was here earlier, I mentioned that I've always lived in houses. I've never actually lived in an apartment. Without getting too much into detail, which I'm gonna end up getting into detail. When I was a kid, the house that I grew up in, my parents got separated, and so my father moved out, and then I lived with my mom. When I was 15, my mom passed away, which I think I've talked about here. My sisters were already living somewhere else, so I was living at the house with my mom, and then she passed away. So my sister moved back in. We moved back into to help, basically. And there's a lot more to the story. I'm leaving out giant chunks of information. But then maybe a year later, she moved out. She went to move back with her husband. So I lived in the house since I was 16. I've lived in a house by myself. And I was still in high school. The last 2 years of high school, I lived by myself in a house. And I remember people would say, well, why don't you move and go get an apartment somewhere? Like, but I have a house. Why would I move to an apartment that I have to pay for? You know, it didn't make any sense. While I was living there, I met Beth, and she eventually moved in. And then when we moved out of there, we moved to another house, and then we ended up moving to this house. So I've always lived in houses. I've never lived in an apartment. See, not an exciting story, but at times a personal story. Is there such a thing as too many remakes? More specifically, is there a point where we're getting too many remakes and ports to the point where we get tired of them? Yes, I think there is a point where there are too many where too many remakes and ports. My issue with that idea is just don't play them. That's been my biggest argument with, especially with the Switch. The Switch ports, I understand because they're being ported from the Wii U. A lot of people didn't have the Wii U. I think there are like 3 times as many Switch owners now as there ever were Wii U owners. So these ports they're like new to everybody. But if you don't like that concept, just don't play them. Good example. Good example of a bad compilation of good games. The Mass Effect trilogy with none of the DLC that was hard. Yeah, that's a bad execution on their part. Ill Bleed was certainly a trip. Magic Knight Ray intro, yeah. Actually, find your channel thanks to Johnny's Netflix Castlevania podcast. Then the first video I watched on your YouTube channel was where we talked about how we as a nation need to say, oh God, yeah. Boy, that video dated badly. What are we going to play after classic Mega Man? I still have no. If something good comes out for the damn Switch Online, maybe we'll find something there. Truth be told, it's probably just going to be Final Fantasy VII. I still haven't pulled the trigger on whether or not I'm going to buy Blaster Master 02 or Final Fantasy VII. I'm probably going to cave and just buy Final Fantasy VII. What is the next RPG that you will be streaming? Probably Final Fantasy VII. So let's build face music. What about a Contra stream? A Contra stream series. They're all about. Yeah, a Contra wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't know how. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I beat Alien War. So maybe that would be a nice game to get through. Um, I'd like to play hardcore. I'd like to learn Contra Hardcore again, and learn the correct ending. So yeah, that might be something we can do. In Symphony of the Night, you said about possibly wondering how the game would be if you didn't pick up some of the or. Oh, okay. Have you tried to? I think I did. I think I did a playthrough where I didn't pick up the orb, the cube of Zoe. I remember doing that, and I thought I did that on stream. Maybe I'll do that as a stream one day. I could have sworn we did that. I remember it not being that difficult. I remember once you get past a certain point, it's not that difficult because some weapons do drop from enemies, some sub weapons. So I remember it not being too much of a challenge. Not as much of a challenge as I thought it would be. Yeah, why would I downgrade? I have a question. What was the most responsible and irresponsible thing I've ever done? The most responsible thing I think I've ever done was... I mean, I own a house. So that's a good one. I don't know. I think being able to hold a job for 6 years until I switch to this job that I've currently been at for 15 years, I think that's probably the most responsible thing I've ever done. Dawn and Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Sorrows. Okay, Dawn of Souls. Remakes are quick cash unless well implemented to the full. Yeah, I do. You know what? Straight De Niro, compilations I think could be perceived as quick cash more than remakes. I think remakes where they put effort into the remake, I think is more about getting people to talk about that franchise again. Compilations to me are very, let's just throw everything on a disc and get it out there. Like, I like them, but I think that they're more like a cash grab than anything else. Vagrant Story. Don't cave. Play new things. Yeah, Hawk, I'm trying not to cave, but it's Final Fantasy VII. We know how good it is. Supervisor came over to tell me what's up next week, right when Greg implemented the whole explain the apartment thing. DB, you just can't catch a break. 140, a marker, like I think it was like 140. Thoughts on Sega Fest? Unfamiliar with Sega Fest. I would imagine it's a festival where they talk about Sega games, which is kind of cool. I would like a Nintendo Fest. I did do a Cubeless run on stream. Yeah, there's also the sub item rooms. I think I skipped them because it felt like cheating. Yeah. What's my favorite game of all time, if not per season? Chat. What's my favorite game of all time? Everybody knows it. Everybody, if you've been here a while, you know it. And that the answer will not change. Married my wife. Yeah, you know that was pretty responsible. Real edgy. You kind of missed the whole thing. You missed. I got my viewer topics picture working, and all my other pictures. There you go. I guess that counts, right? How many times do I think Elliot and Johnny will die in Cave Story? I don't know. What are they up to? Do we know what they're up to? Is triple digits an option? I could probably word this question better, but what do you recommend for a decent, all right, typical laptop? Laptop is difficult. You want to? I mean, I don't even think they make anything less than 4 cores now. I think looking up a 6-core CPU, I think it's more about. Oh, I skipped your question. I think it's more about the specs than anything else. I would focus on at least a 6-core CPU, and if it comes with a solid state drive, that's great. If it doesn't, you can just sort of, if it's possible, you can upgrade to one. And your graphics card. What are you going to be using it for? Is it more workstation or gaming? Gaming laptop is more difficult to do. I would just argue don't expect to pay more. Expect to pay a premium because it's a laptop. If it was a PC, you'd be able to get one built that would cost you less than they would charge you at the store. But as a laptop, yeah, look more into the specs. Focus on a 6-core CPU if they even make them for. I'm not familiar with laptops. All my studying over the last 6 months has been regular tower PCs. Yeah, now the $800 laptops have 6 cores and PC grade 1050. That's a good spot that you want to end up at. I would say that you want to end up around there. The laptop that I had was an MSI GE70, which had a GTX 765, I think, in there, and in a 4-core Intel i7. I want to say i7, like a 4550 or something. I got that as a hand me down from somewhere else, and it worked very well. But yeah, you can go up a little higher. You can go up a little higher than that. Is there such a thing as too much? Agent Fox, you asked me that once before, and I said yes. I said being positive and having and happy is a good thing, but when you get to too much of it, it starts to look fake. Yes. Symphony of the Night, I'm guessing. Wow, nobody guessed that or nobody knew that my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy Tactics. Yeah. Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite game of all time. No, Agent Fox, not today. It was like weeks ago. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago I think you asked me that. Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is on the PlayStation. Not the War of the Lions PSP game. The one on the PlayStation is my favorite game of all time. I would love to have a graphics remaster using the Octopath Traveler graphics. I don't like Tic Tacs. You don't, but real edgy. Final Fantasy Tic Tacs are the best one. Yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics is my favorite game of all time. Even though it is a single kind of game, there's so many ways to vary it. The storyline is spectacular. I love the graphics. I love the controls. I love everything about that game. You prefer Persona 3? I have not played a Persona game. I played some of the first one, a little bit of the second one, but never played through them. Never played 3, 4, or 5 ever. Never played the dancing games. Never played well, they are Shin Megami Tensei, but right, they are the Shin Megami Tensei games, aren't they? So that is my most favorite game. Yeah, I've yet to play any Final Fantasy. Well, Final Fantasy Tactics is a different kind of game. They are tactical RPGs as opposed to traditional JRPGs. Resident Persona 5 here, yeah. Oh, they were Shin Megami Tensei, but they turned it into Persona. Okay, 1 and 2 are very different from 3, 4, and 5. I don't know. Maybe Persona 3 is a game that I should play on stream. What do you think? Do you think that is a good streaming game? See, that's something that you need to watch out with streaming games, is that you do need games that are more interesting. And it helps at least for the game to be interesting, because the game is like a backdrop for the content. You know, we can have a bunch of discussions, but it's nice to have a game in the background that you're playing that is interesting to carry along the duller parts of the stream, in which case, you know, I'm pretty dull sometimes. I prefer P4 over 3. I'm a Resident Persona fan. There we go. Oh, okay, so Persona 3, you can't control your allies. You just lost me. Yep, you're real edgy. You immediately just lost me on Persona 3. I will not even bother with that game. I don't like the idea of my characters being randomized. Or rather, of their controls being randomized. But it does have a lot of downtime. I can control them in Persona 3 Portable. You immediately lost me once you say that. Is that true for 4 and 5 also? Is that before you take off? Is that true for 4 and 5? Or do you get to control all of your characters? Because if I'm gonna have a team of people, they're gonna be under my control. They are ants. You can control your allies in 4. Okay, this is like that. That later, real edgy. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. There's that Twitter channel, the Twitter handle where it's like, can you pet the dog? I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. And then it's pictures or scenes from different games, and they question whether or not you could pet the dog in that game. 4 is better for streaming. 3 is very repetitive. Well, I won't play 3 just because I can't control my allies. That immediately loses me. Okay. I need to reference. Can you pet the dog? Twitter. Yes, I love that. I love that channel. We are at the end. I want to thank everybody for stopping in and for hanging out, not just today, but for day after day after day, or week after week after week, I should say. Obviously, stopping in for the Silver Lining is means a ton to me. The fact that a lot of you guys, a lot of you people, I hate saying guys, a lot of you stop in through the week when we do the game streams. That means more to me than you can possibly imagine, and I very, very much appreciate it. I hope to be doing this for a while, and I hope to have everybody here for a while. Got a clip there. Final Fantasy VIII is great because you can pet the dog. I have a graphic. Yeah, but it still amazes me that everybody is here. Okay, if you are watching this right now and you do not have me on, we talked about the YouTube page earlier. If you do not follow me on YouTube, check the links down below and follow me on YouTube and Twitter, of course. That's where we update as far as what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be playing for that week. If the stream has to move up or down, as far as time goes, we'll update it there. If you are watching this on YouTube, also be sure to check the links down below. Hopefully they are there, if I remember to put them there. And follow me over on Twitch, where we also have there's a banner down here that will tell you what the stream times are. We stream every week, or Monday through, we stream every week. This show Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern, whatever the Eastern time is. And then we also stream Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I'm about to end it. Yeah, it is about to end. Thank you, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that. Oh God, that's horrible. Don't worry about ringing the bell, because the only thing I post on YouTube for the most part are this. But thank you, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. And I will see you the next time I see you. And I don't know. I need a cool sign out for the show. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of something.